Adesh, Adesh. Today I would like to discuss the difference between material and spiritual science. You see, spiritual science is a study of consciousness, while material science is a study of phenomena as reported by the mind and the senses, often aided by various devices or instruments created by human beings, such as the electron accelerators or particle accelerators, telescopes, and various microscope, so such as the electron microscope, for example. So material science study the nature of phenomena as such. And when it does study consciousness, it does through the agency of the brain and to see brain activity. So it doesn't really dissociate mind from the brain itself. And spiritual science looks at it from another angle. It goes beyond the concept of phenomena to the concept of cause and even the acausal, the state beyond cause. So truth can only truly be fathomed at the very depth, at the very source, at the very essence of oneself, beyond the turbulence of the mind, beyond the senses, beyond the referencing to the past or to the future. Truth ultimately can only be experienced in the here and now, in a state beyond time. And there can only be time when there's mind to perceive time. Okay, and hence the referencing to past and future in the now. But ultimately, there's only the here and now that actually witnesses what goes on inside, what goes on outside, and what goes on as the reference we call time, in reference to past, something that happened just recently or in a distant past, and something that will happen in the future. So, in order to study consciousness, one needs to peel away the layers of the mind, to go underneath the mind, to get to the mind of the mind itself. And this is what we call consciousness. So as tantrics and yogis, we are spiritual scientists studying, using our own body and our own mind and the world as our laboratories, as such. And we never lose sight of that eternal scientist, the eternal witness within, that perceives the body, that perceives the mind, that perceives the world. So to us, our own instruments, our body, the mind, and the world, to come to our ultimate conclusion, which is experience at the very core of ourself. So consciousness, in other words, is self-revealing. So when we peel away the layers of an onion, we get to the very center, which is both nothingness, so to speak. Some call it the void, but that nothingness is the core of all potential. So this is the concept of samadhi. Sama, meaning the same, adi, as the original state. Samadhi, being in that state, in that original state of consciousness, beyond and behind any phenomena. So we know that, loosely we can say that we have the wakeful mind, the state of wakefulness, which is an ordinary state that we're normally in, just like now me talking to you, or interacting with the world, interacting with others, the logical reasoning mind, the senses, and so forth. And then we have the dream state. So when we're at night, we're in a dream state. And that can be also akin to altered states of consciousness in both the alpha and theta brainwaves. And in the dream state, it's a purely subjective state. Right, in the wakeful state, you could say it's the objective state, and in the in the dream state, it is the subjective state. So things appear as real on a theatre of the mind, but actually it's only when we wake up that we realize that we were dreaming. And then we have a deep sleep state, where we're not in a dream state at all. There are no images being conjured in the mind, and we become unconscious, so to speak, of our own body, our own mind, due to lack of activity in the mind, and as not producing any dream images. And we're also unconscious to the world around us when we're in deep sleep state. And samadhi has some similarities to the deep sleep state, except in the deep sleep state we're totally unconscious, while in the in samadhi, we, having peeled away the layers of the mind becoming, I suppose, in deep repose within the mind itself, consciousness that is, then in that pure consciousness, we are aware of awareness itself as a pure light of awareness, beyond any fluctuation, beyond any references whatsoever to past, future, to inside or outside, to the world, or to anything of any sort. Just pure light of awareness is samadhi. So only in that deep state of awareness can we know ultimately the truth of who we are and the truth behind the universe. So material scientists will be able to discover various phenomena and how those phenomena come about within our own brain and body and the universe, absolutely. But in order to discover the truth, the existential truth, whether one calls that God or cosmic consciousness or the oversoul, including our own, whether we have our own individual soul, whether consciousness actually is the source of all things and actually is able to survive without a vehicle and able to express itself through the universe as its own vehicle. That can only approximately be alluded to by spiritual scientists if we go deep enough into phenomena to the cause. However, it's only through becoming a spiritual scientist, a yogi, a tantric, for example, that one can discover the ultimate truth of those very topics of God, of a soul, of the oversoul, of consciousness itself, at the very core of ourself, and that is called self-realization. Once we realize it inside ourselves and we go back to that state and go deeper into that state, then we can realize cosmic realization, that it is in all things, it is a source of all things. As the Babas say, God sleeps in rocks, wakes up in plants, moves in animals, and thinks in man. There's only one consciousness, one existence, expressing itself through various forms and various dimensions and various activities. Jai Ma.